Hi, my name is Avril Salter and welcome to this short complimentary video. What we're going to do today is take a look at site planning. And what I've done is I've taken an access point and using Velcro I strapped it to the ceiling. I have powered on the access point. Now that access point does not need internet access for me to do my site planning. So before I begin site measurements, I always like to get a sense of what's operating in my frequency band. So I'm going to take a quick look at my spectrum analyzer, and here you can see the access point that I have deployed called HP. ProCurve is the SSID, and this access point is actually transmitting two different SSIDs. So both the HP ProCurve and Rogue 2 is the same access point. Now I can also see that there are two neighboring access points, so let's take a look at how much interference they're causing me. Yes, you can see that they're fairly distance away, so they shouldn't impact my measurements too much until I get a lot closer to their location. Now I also want to take a look at what else might be operating in my band, and I can see that there is. And so when I'm doing my measurements, I'm going to get some fluctuation. In fact, you can see that with my signal strength is going up and down due to the fact that there's other stuff happening in this frequency band. That means when I get to a location where I want to record the signal strength and the data rate, I need to pause for a few minutes to make sure that my system's stable and I can really sort of estimate what the right data rate is for that location. So now we've had a look at our spectrum analyzer, let's go ahead and connect to our access point. So I select this button down here, and here you can see my HP access point. I select this and select connect. You can see that I'm now connected, and as I mentioned, there is no internet connection, so I do not need to be concerned with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click this and select status. And here you can see I'm very close to the access point, and so I'm able to get 150 megabits per second. And what I'm going to do now is start to move away from the access point, and I'm going to be looking at my signal quality and also my data rate. And I have in my hand my building blueprints, and as I walk away I'm going to note the data rates and start writing those data rates down on my blueprint. So let's start walking. So I've reached my first location, and you can see that my data rate has dropped. So I'm going to note down that data rate on my blueprint, and then I'm going to move to the next location. So I've now moved to my next destination, and you can see that my signal strength has dropped considerably. And you can see my data rate has also dropped. And so at 2 megabits per second, I've really reached the edge parameter of my cell. And I've closed a couple of doors behind me, and that's really dropped my signal and therefore dropped my data rate. So again, I make another note on my blueprint of my data rate, and then I'm going to go back to my access point and we're going to start again. So I'm now back at my access point, and you can see that my signal strength has gone back up and I'm back at 150 megabits per second. So what I would do now is literally walk in a different direction away from the access point, doing the same thing, writing down the data rates as I go, and I would do this several times, and once I've done that I can literally put rings around the access point that indicate the areas where I can get specific data rates. And then I can use that information to determine my coverage plan, how many access points I need to get full coverage, and also my capacity plan, how many access points I need in order to get to the minimum data rate that I think is acceptable for my users. So that concludes how we can do site measurements. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this video.